No one warns you that fertility challenges don't just change your plans in life. They change you. They change the way you see your body. They change the way you relate to your friends. They change the way you imagine your entire future. So today we are talking about the fertility identity shift, that moment when you realize that you are no longer the person you were before trying to conceive, and you're not quite sure who you'll be afterwards. If you have ever thought, I don't recognize myself anymore on this journey, and I just wish I could have my life back again, then this is the episode that you need to hear. Welcome to Your Journey to Fertility. This is the podcast that blends science with spirit to give you all the tools you need as you navigate your fertility journey. I'm your host, Jennifer Edmonds, and for the last 15 years, I've been helping women on their journeys to motherhood and beyond. I believe that combining the latest scientific research along with the best energetic and mindset practices will help you to avoid putting your life on hold and bring you closer to your baby. Each week, you'll learn ways to support your fertility and trust your body so that you can stop stressing that you'll never have your baby and finally walk your path to motherhood. This is the Your Journey to Fertility podcast. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. Now, as I record this episode, it is early February and I have just welcomed a beautiful new group of students into my fertility yoga program. And honestly, I love these early weeks where I'm just kind of getting to know everyone, and there is so much power, I think, in being able to share your journey, and especially to someone who A, listens, and B, who actually gets it. So when we are joined together with my new students and we're able to share little bits of where we're at and to ask little pieces of advice and just be surrounded by a group of women who get it, there is so much power in that. And I hope that that is what you feel from listening to this episode, just by having me in your earphones or in your car or however you are listening to this. I want you to feel supported and like you are connecting with someone who actually gets it. Because what I hear coming up time and time again is this idea of no one understands what I'm going through, and I just want my life back. I just want to feel like myself again. Or I used to think if I could just move on from this trying to conceive journey, if I could move on from being this trying to conceive person, that would make everything better, because you get into this space of feeling you don't even know who you are anymore. And I think it's tricky because it creeps up on you. It's not like you wake up one day and you're like, oh gosh, this whole journey has completely taken over my life. It starts really small, and we notice things, our friends start having children without meaning to now, and they trigger you so much. Gradually, you're left out of conversations because you can't relate to people anymore, or people don't want to upset you, so they don't talk about those things around you. You don't want to spend your weekends at the park and hanging out at baby showers and one-year-olds' birthdays all the time, because it is so hard to be around all of that. But at the same time, you're not that carefree couple who first got together and wanted to spend all their time traveling and visiting all the new bars and restaurants in your city. So you end up in this point where you say, well, where do I fit in anymore? Because you can't go back, but you also feel like you can't move on, and you are just stuck in this place of, will it ever be my turn? And when will I finally get to move on? You completely lose who you are and who you thought you would be and where you thought you would be at this stage of your life. Because infertility, to be honest, it doesn't just affect your body. It quietly, and like I said, without us always realizing it, it reshapes your entire identity, your relationships, your values, your sense of self. So on this episode today, what I want to help you with is understand why you feel like such a different person, release some of the shame around things that you can't change, and gently redefine who you are becoming and what this journey may actually bring you as a result. Now, quick note, as I was putting together this episode, I wanted to include a meditation at the end, but it ended up feeling a little bit long for a podcast episode. And I know that not all of you would listen to this while you are relaxing at home. I listen to podcasts when I'm on the go. So instead, what I've done is I have turned the meditation that I intended to add onto this as a free download for you. So if you would like to access that meditation, it's going to be a beautiful way to help you embody where you are at this stage of your life and to help you move towards where you are actually going. So if you would like to download that, again, I've left the link in the show notes. So grab your free 10-minute meditation. It's a wonderful way for you to find some peace amongst all of these crazy and loud thoughts. So as we get into today's episode, I want to take you through the before and what you thought your life would look like. Then we'll move into the in between and the very messy stage that you're likely in right now in the thick of it all. And then the reframe of who you're becoming and how expansive your future can actually be. So I always assumed that I would be pregnant by, the age of 34. I got married when I was 33. I thought, we'll get pregnant straight away. I'll have my baby the following year. I'm going to have X amount of kids. They're going to have this 18-month to 2-year age gap. This is what my family is going to look like. And I had it all planned out. And I was the healthy one. I was the one who worked in the fitness industry. I was the one telling other people how to be healthier. I was always coaching people on the ways they could look after their bodies. And it just never occurred to me that I would be the one that needed help in the end. And I was the planner. I was the one that always got everything organized and I had my life mapped out. And, with a few hiccups here and there, my life had pretty much gone the way that I had hoped it had. So I had no inkling that this journey of having a family would be any different. But when infertility happens and when these fertility challenges hit you so deeply, I think it takes you by a complete surprise because you have spent your whole life being told that if you work hard, you will achieve what you want. Because isn't this what all of our mothers and our grandmothers fought for, many decades ago? It was like, well, yes, we go and we get the education and we work hard and we will achieve what we plan in life as long as we work hard. But the one area where effort doesn't equal reward is during infertility. You can get 100% on that exam. You can do all the tests. You can do them perfectly. You can do everything right. But sometimes it just isn't enough. And I saw this amazing post by one of my good friends, Lucy Lines, on social media this week. She wrote this quote that said, "Infertility was the first time in my life where I had felt really stupid." And gosh, that hit home for me. And I'm sure, I shared it on my stories and so many of you commented that it hit home for you as well, because you're right. We're all intelligent people. We've been to school. We've been to, building our careers. We've been building the lives that we have wanted. And we're so used to being able to work towards the things that we want. But then you get stuck in this space of, well, I feel like a complete idiot. I had no idea this was coming and I have no idea how to get out of it. And all of the people that I'm trying to turn to for help are confusing me and overwhelming me, and I don't know what is next. So I want to reassure you that this is something that you are not alone in if you are feeling this. And I find that your identity is really tied to, well, if I've been able to plan my life so far, then why wouldn't I be able to plan my family? And the problem is that our brains and our nervous systems really hate uncertainty. As I've spoken about before, your nervous system loves predictability and consistency. And infertility is literally the opposite of this. So this brings us into the in-between identity, or the messy middle, or what is currently known as what you're going through. And I think this is where most of us are living if we are struggling to conceive, because you're not who you were. You've found maybe the partner of your dreams, or maybe even if you are on this journey as a single parent, you have decided that you want to build a family. So you are not that same person, but you're also not who you hoped you'd be or where you hoped you'd be by now. You end up feeling really disconnected from your body. You get handed so easily over to these medical procedures and your body is no longer your own. You go through all of these tests and these scans and you're put into these brackets of statistics and success rates and probabilities and percentages. And it's just like, yes, but I'm still me. I'm still in my body and I don't feel like a statistic. And it's really a hard thing to reconcile. I feel like we have friends in all different life stages. And gosh, this is such a big one, navigating your friendships throughout this process of struggling to have a family is one of the hardest things that I ever went through. And I think it's probably the thing I hear the most feedback about in terms of what my students struggle with as well. I did an episode about navigating your friendships a couple of months ago. So if you are a new listener and you are thinking, my goodness, yes, this is something that I am really struggling with, go back a few episodes and look out for that one, because I think that will be really helpful. I really struggled because I felt like my fertility journey really impacted my career. I was constantly having to tell my employer what I was going through, and I made that decision to share, and they were really supportive, to be fair to them. But I felt like there was this automatic assumption that, okay, well, she'll be pregnant soon. If she's going through IVF, obviously she's going to be pregnant and having a baby soon. And maybe we take this into consideration when we're looking to promote people or offer new opportunities to people. There's always this assumption that if you're going to have a baby, you're going to have heaps of time off. And I found that so unfair, because everyone else just gets to rock up and say, hey, guess what? I'm pregnant. And, they've got no notice around that. And I find that we get disconnected from what makes us joyful, what brings us peace and lightness. And gosh, the thing that I hated the most in the world on this journey was that I just didn't feel anymore. I didn't feel the joy, the excitement. I felt like I had nothing to look forward to. And it didn't help that I had ended up canceling so many plans because I didn't want to go out places where everyone was drinking and eating at restaurants where the food they were eating wasn't necessarily the perfect fertility diet that I was following. And I couldn't make plans with people 6 months, 12 months into the future where they're planning weekends away and can you guys come? And I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be going through another cycle right then. And it takes away so much. So if you relate to any of that, I just want you to know that, again, you are not alone. I used to think, gosh, I feel so bitter all the time. I feel so bitter for my friends that are just waltzing on with their lives, that didn't struggle. And I hate that, that horrible feeling of, gosh, of course I love my friends, but I hate that they have what I don't. I hated that idea of, well, I used to be fun. I used to go out and be carefree. I didn't have to make every decision in my life through this lens of, is it going to impact my fertility today? And I used to hate this idea of, I don't even trust my body anymore. I didn't even like my body anymore. And it's so common to put on weight from fertility treatments, and we question whether our exercise routines are suitable while we're going through treatment. So I find a lot of us, myself included, we just stopped exercising altogether. And gosh, all of this just has a huge impact on your mental health. Side note, that is one of the areas that I specialize in. So if you are on this journey of struggling to conceive and you want to know what exercise is helpful, reach out to me. I have a few episodes that you can go back and listen to around this, which might be helpful. But this is something that a lot of people come to me for because they want to be able to continue exercising, but in a safe way. So I want to normalize all of this deeply. And if you hear one thing from this episode, this is not a failure of your mindset. It's not a failure of where you're at in life or that you haven't done enough. It is just a nervous system response. This idea of going into this state of apathy where, I don't have anything to look forward to. I'm not joyful. I'm just going to withdraw. This is something that your nervous system does as a way to keep you safe from not having to feel the pain of what you're going through. So you end up just feeling nothing. And now I want to move on to what I think is the whole purpose of this episode, which is this identity reframe. So what I really want to help you with in listening to this episode is to help you see perhaps what this journey can add to you, how it can help you expand. And it doesn't erase you or make you less than in any way at all. Instead, it can give you greater boundaries. I was a chronic people pleaser, but this journey eventually showed me that sometimes you really, really do need to prioritize yourself, even if others don't like it. And people pleasing is something that I am still working on, as I'm sure my fellow people pleaser listeners will relate to. but it really did show me when I needed to put those boundaries in place. I think that this journey can give you deeper compassion. I feel like these days I'm a lot less quick to judge. I have a much deeper relationship now with my husband. And gosh, if you can get through this with your relationship intact, you can get through anything. And I feel like I am so much more patient with people. And if I don't understand someone's reaction to something, these days my automatic response is not, well, how dare they, or why would they say or do that? It is, what are they going through, or what has happened in their life or recently throughout their day that has made them react like this? I feel like this journey as well can give you much deeper and sharper intuition. Gosh, I never second guess myself now, especially now that I run a business based around all of this work and I am not reliant on anyone else for my livelihood. I feel like when you can bring a baby into this world against all the odds and against what others or doctors have told you that was possible, I feel like you can do anything. And the trust that that gives you and the trust that you then have with yourself, that will never leave you. I feel like this journey gives you the space for less tolerance for crap from others. And that goes back to the boundaries. But maybe this is also a symptom of me turning 40 in the past few years. But I just feel so much more confident in telling others if I have been hurt or misunderstood, and always in a kind way. But I won't just let things go. I won't just laugh things off anymore. And if someone does say something that I feel is hurtful, I will let them know. And I don't feel bad about it. And I feel like people actually respond quite well when you are so open and honest. But I never had the confidence and the trust in myself to do that before I went through this journey. And I think that this journey really can give you more embodied self-trust. And this comes back to intuition as well. I know now when I need to cancel Sunday plans and just play catch up or rest. I know when my body needs to skip the gym or when I need to lay off eating cheese for a few days. I feel so much more in tune with what my body really needs. And this journey showed me exactly how to do that, how to connect with my body in a way that I had never experienced before. Now, before I go through how this can help you on your own journey, and especially if you are a new listener, if you are a regular listener, I'm sure hopefully that you already know this about me in the podcast, but I am not a person, and this is not a podcast where it's a everything happens for a reason type situation. So that is not what I am trying to tell you from this episode. You're not going through all of this in order for something in particular. And instead, I want to reframe it as something meaningful can coexist with grief. That is the energy of the episode here today. So I always want to put a little bit of a spiritual lens on things as well, because again, that combination of looking at things from a scientific perspective and a spiritual one, I find really is where everything starts to come together. I felt like I was being put many times over, being put through this kind of initiation. There was this energy of initiation that I had throughout my fertility journey. And I realized throughout what I went through that everyone goes through something, whether it is health issues, medical issues, financial problems, relationships that break down, problems with children, and whatever it is. So if it is not infertility, that person next to you is probably going through something or will go through something else in their lives. And I feel like sometimes we are not prepared for what we do go through. But sometimes when we do end up in these difficult situations, we are being prepared to become someone even better than we imagined. I feel like sometimes we can reframe this as we're not being punished, we're being shaped. And that becoming, that is the hardest thing to get your head around, but that happens before the outcome of what you really want in this journey. So what does all of that mean? As we start to look at this reframe, I want to remind you that you don't need to go back to who you were. You just need to integrate So all of the experiences that you've been through, they are going to lead you to the person that you will become. And if you look back at everything that you went through in your life, and I feel like regrets are something that are just so unhelpful and so useless to get your head around. I, wish I had started trying for a family sooner. I wish I'd got off birth control sooner. I wish I'd gone and got testing sooner. All of these things, it just doesn't matter. And we can't have regrets from what we have been through, because you get to become someone amazing. You get to become someone that you are proud of. And there is no shame for feeling all that you've experienced along the way. So all of those moments where you feel jealous of your friends and you feel so guilty for not wishing the best for them and wishing it was you instead, there is no shame in any of that. It is so normal. Someone once asked me when I was in the thick of my own journey, they said, if getting pregnant wasn't your goal right now, what would you be doing instead? What would you focus on? And this helped me so much, because I was able to take a step back and think, oh my goodness, if I wasn't going through this ridiculous journey and I had put myself into this ridiculous situation that I talk about so often, where every moment of my day was dictated by, will this get me pregnant this month? The 19 different supplements, the endless appointments, the acupuncture, the massages, the reflexology, the hypnosis, all of this. It was so much taking away from my life and who I was and what I enjoyed and what I loved doing in life and what I really needed to prioritize. So when someone asked me this, I thought, gosh, if this wasn't on my radar, I would be eating what I wanted. I'd be doing all the exercise that I wanted without worrying if it was too much or too little. I'd be booking trips. I'd be doing amazing weekends away with my husband. And so I want you to ask yourself, every time you catch yourself thinking about something that you have lost on this journey, I want you to ask yourself, is there one thing that you have gained in its place? Because all the things that we lose, we aren't going to lose them forever. And I promise you, whatever the outcome of this journey, you will come back to yourself. So next time you are getting into this state of, well, everything is hopeless and I don't even know where to go, and I don't think I can make a decision on this journey without putting it through the lens of, is this going to help my fertility? What decision would you make if this wasn't your focus right now? If you could just let go of some of that control, stop gripping and holding on so desperately just for a moment, ask yourself what decision you would make, and then see how that would affect you. If you did actually make that decision, would it feel lighter? Would it feel more expansive? And would it make your life a little bit easier in the process? So I hope this episode has been helpful. And I know it's a really difficult thing to hear, that maybe there is a life on the other side of this journey. Maybe you will actually get through it. I promise you that, again, as I said, no matter what the outcome is, you will be in a place where one day this isn't what you focus on at every moment, from the moment you wake up until the second before you fall asleep. I would love to hear your thoughts around the person you think you are becoming on this journey. Has anything happened that has made you reassess who you are, or given you some insight into the person that you are becoming? And if you want to share any of that with me, I would love to hear from you. You can always send me an email. My DMs are always open. And if you don't know, I have a voice note service. You can click the link down in the show notes and just leave me a quick voice note. I'm a voice note person and I love hearing people's voices from all around the world. So please feel free to do that if you would like to share. Now, next week on the podcast, we are going to be speaking about the 3 things your fertility journey and your body are trying to tell you as you are trying to conceive. So until then, I am sending you all of my wishes as you continue your own journey to fertility. The most common thing I hear from students who are on their fertility journey is that the stress of trying to conceive has taken over their life. Your days end up being filled with endless appointments, navigating pregnancy announcements. You're trying to eat right, take all your supplements, and it is all you think about from the moment you wake up. I designed the Element Fertility Yoga course to support your body, your mind, and your mental health in 3 important ways: to synchronize your hormones, increase circulation and blood flow, and to help regulate your nervous system. But on top of this, the greatest gift that you can give yourself throughout this journey is a sense of peace, to help you calm your mind and just make this process feel easier. Every single one of my students tell me that this is the first thing they notice after starting a yoga, meditation, and breathwork practice. But on top of this, you have the amazing benefit of actually supporting and increasing your fertility. Studies have shown that those participating in mind-body programs as they're trying to conceive have success rates 3 times greater than those who don't. The course I've designed walks you through natural conception as well as fertility treatments and IVF cycles. And the best part is you can work through it at your own pace in the comfort of your home. The practices start from just 10 minutes per day. To learn more, visit elementpilatesyoga.com or see the link in the show notes.